Welcome to the Veterinary Project Podcast, episode 090.
Welcome to the show created by vets featuring absolutely no pets. This is the Veterinary Project Podcast, hosted by Dr. Michael Bugg and Dr. Jonathan Leicht. Our resident veterinarians have swapped out their stethoscopes in favor of microphones to bring you the Veterinary Project Podcast, a show focused on real conversations, aimed to connect this amazing profession full of remarkable people. Through the sharing of collective stories and wisdom, and connecting over the many unique challenges we face, we invite you to join our community of veterinary professionals leading intentional lives. And now, here are the hosts of the Veterinary Project Podcast, Dr. Michael Bugg and Dr. Jonathan Leicht.
All right, best out of three, and whoever loses is in charge of setting it up.
Oh, okay, I thought the winner would. Okay, loser quarterbacks this episode.
Here we go. Oh, we got to talk about it first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Like, let's do that.
Okay.
Like, I do that with
on
5
three.
Rolls.
On
Here we
three. Go. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna cheat, and I still beat you.
What do you mean? I didn't even see it.
We must be delayed on computer because, like, I had my rock, and I was like, you still haven't picked.
Your rock went out of the screen, so I couldn't even see it. There you go. You got to keep it higher.
Do I still get the point?
Yep, I trust you. Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah,
I'm too close to the computer. I didn't move. I was rock again.
All right, so we're 1-1.
Okay.
That was totally delayed.
No, it won't. Whatever. Okay, you lost. You're leaving.
All right, I'm doing it.
Episode 090, episode about nothing.
The episode about nothing. Welcome back to the Veterinary Project Podcast. You are joined by Dr. Mikey Bugg and Dr. Jonathan Leicht. Mike, how is the world according to Dr. Bugg? And are you excited about today's episode?
I'm very excited, John. I thought there'd be more energy coming here before we turned record on. I mean, we have a list of ideas, and you were like, we got to talk about something fun and positive, like, and you know, our ideas are good, but some of them are like serious and heavy, and you know, so we're going to chat about nothing. I'm excited.
So you said, and I'm not aware of this, that this actually emanates from a Seinfeld episode. Is that correct?
Well, it's not even just a Seinfeld episode. It's all of Seinfeld. And now we're totally dating ourselves because probably anyone 30 and younger has no clue what Seinfeld is.
Well, I know what Seinfeld is, but I have no idea what you're talking about. So I feel young right now.
What? The whole premise of Seinfeld, like the years and years that it ran, it's a show about nothing, right? Like, it's just like, here's their life and stuff happens. And it's like, and then in the show, they go to whatever ABC or NBC or whatever and pitch a show about nothing.
I've got nothing.
You live under a rock. So anyway, we're trying to have some fun. It is Friday afternoon. I don't even know. Friday morning, Friday afternoon. We had a guest lined up.
Yep.
Veterinary world being what it is, they had to cancel last minute. They were still stuck at the vet clinic. So we're shooting a show about nothing.
We're rolling. We're going to talk about fun stuff because we could talk inflation, labor, shortages, all the other ideas that we had. And we are cutting it because we want to have some fun with our listeners. We're going to have fun between ourselves, and let's chat about the world according to Mike and Johnny. So on that premise, what is fun in life right now, bud?
For me, this is really specific to me, is NHL playoffs. I love playoff hockey. You know, I'm a sports guy, but I've really fallen off just other priorities in life. Like, I don't think I watched a single hockey game this year. Actually, that's not true. I went to one, but other than that, I didn't follow it at all. But now that playoffs are on, just the intensity picks up. The stakes are so high. It is so exciting. And then I did put on my quarterly review to go to a playoff game. That's why I keep hounding you and Devin.
Yep.
I want to come to Calgary and see an actual playoff game in the building just because the energy is off the charts.
If we get to the third round or if Edmonton ends up being in the second round with us, meaning we have to win, and we being Calgary, who I'm a massive fan of, then that might be the series instead to go see is the second round. Because we were talking about this yesterday, and then Edmonton won last night. So for 31% of our listeners, which is what it is for US listeners right now, you have some amazing US hockey teams as well. And there is a number of series that by the time you are listening to this amazing episode, it will be into round 2. And there are some great playoff series already this year. Boston's kicking butt. Pittsburgh, we'll see if they survive. Tampa Bay, two-time Stanley Cup champions. They're doing awesome. Dallas, hopefully they're out as of tonight, so they don't count. And the world goes on.
And more for the American listeners, I do have to say the NFL has drawn me in. Like I grew up all my life being a hockey fan. The NFL is just on a different level. Like that is unreal.
Completely. And switching gears, like the NFL has completely taken over Canada as well. If you look at the last few years, CFL is in trouble. CFL is contemplating rule changes just to try and remain competitive, but we all know the reality of it. It's everybody that can't make the NFL even tries to go in the CFL, and that's difficult. NFL and the marketing is just taken over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is those people in the NFL are unbelievable athletes. Like you just can't even imagine the things they can do.
It's amazing. Yep. It's amazing. So yeah, that's some fun stuff there. So we might be going to a hockey game, hopefully going to a hockey game. And just on that theme of hockey, I think the playoffs, Candace, my wife, she is all over it. So we are planning our schedule right now around the playoffs to ensure that we've got time to partake in the games. And fortunately or unfortunately, the Calgary games are starting right around that 7:30, 8 o'clock when our kids are supposed to be going to bed. That's not even happening these days because Jack's got himself a radio so he can listen to the game. So we are completely brainwashing him. So good. So good.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about you? What's fun?
That is fun. I think we chatted about this like a month and a half ago that we took a short-term rental being 7 months in Fernie, which is in BC, our province next door. That's been fun. We've only been out there twice so far. And it's a unbelievable place to be able to relax, reset, and spend some quality family time together. We're going to be meeting up with friends up next week while we're there. And it's a 3-day long weekend here in Canada. That is fun. So it's a nice little piece to look forward to. What really isn't fun, but it is good, is we had to go buy a vehicle over the last week here. So we just received it last night. And for the ridiculousness that is supply chain right now, we bought 2 vehicles at once. That was the only, well, let me be frank. That was the best way of making it possible to actually get the vehicle we want, which is a hybrid model that is 6 to 8 months out. So we're taking a gamble on a premium used vehicle, sell it in 6 to 8 months, and then get into the vehicle we want. And to get a better deal, we literally had to put our name down for both vehicles at once. Welcome to the craziness that is 2022.
Yeah. We kind of want to get a vehicle, and we were driving around, and the parking lots are just empty. Like you go to the car dealerships, there's no cars there. It's creepy.
We were at a Toyota dealership and they have a tower, you know, those towers you see in marketing and such.
Yeah.
There's no tower. There's no vehicles there right now. They're gone. And their desire to wheel and deal with you, which I do like doing, is zero almost. They're like, we used to, so red tag days in the Toyota world means absolutely nothing. I'll give you $1,000 off. Then it was $500. Then it was $200. Then we'll fill your tank. Oh, no, you actually might have to get charged to fill your tank because gas is so expensive. It's gone. It is crazy.
It's funny how things swing.
That's it. And as I was telling Candace, we're probably buying a used vehicle at the absolute worst time, but we were not having any more fun with our vehicle that was almost at 300,000 and giving sensors about 150 times in our trip to Fernie. It was time.
Well, I have a really old, a 2004 truck that is essentially worthless, like maybe $2,500. But now I bet I could sell that thing for like 10 grand.
Especially as a truck.
Yeah, like maybe more. And I'm tempted to sell it, but then I don't have any vehicle and I got to buy something super expensive. So I don't know what to do there. But
so you want to hear a good one? And Candace was mad at me afterwards because this is the episode about nothing. So we're talking about it. Is that our trade-in value for this vehicle was so low that it's probably just going for steal. We wanted 6. They gave us 2.
Yeah.
They're such in the driver's seat right now for negotiations, but trucks, man, they're well earned. And we've had some friends that have made money on their used vehicles in the last year, where they bought it in the last 2 years and they've been able to sell it at more than what they paid for, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. You don't see that very often.
Nope. I've never seen that in my life, but hey, we're young, right?
I guess so. We'll tell ourselves that.
Something you said to me yesterday too, which I thought was pretty cool, the best shape of your life. And when we first went on a video, I was like, man, he's looking healthy and good these days.
Well, thank you.
More.
Well, it's the run training. Like, it is really ramping up. So I guess when this episode drops, I'm about a week and a half out from that 10K race. So I've been like training very hard. I've been eating mostly good. I've been, like a little bit of cheating in there, but pretty strong overall. So yeah, I've been pushing hard.
Yep. You can tell. And you're tan, non-tan. It looks like you have a tan on here right now. You said you haven't seen the outside world for a while.
Wow, finally, yeah. Finally we can get outside. But yeah, I do all my running outside. So I guess I've been outside a lot. So
yeah, no, that's pretty sweet. Well, it shows. And we were looking at those Coronas, the 0%. You had sent me a text. I went, wait a second. We just had that the night before.
Yeah. If you like Corona, they're pretty good,
Yep. We've been trying the Budweisers. We've tried a couple of, we were talking about this, you and me, that there's some craft breweries that are doing the non-alcoholics. I haven't found one that I've liked yet, but you said you'd found a couple.
Yeah. Yeah. And just at the grocery store, various like craft non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting concept, because we were watching the game the other night and I had one of those Corona 0%, and I am rarely drinking these days to get drunk. That is not the emphasis of drinking as compared to, unfortunately, maybe 20 years ago or less. So in this adage, we were having the Corona 0%, and I was totally comfortable with it. Like, had the drink and kind of said, hey, do you want anything else? Do you want another one, etc.? No, we were good. Yeah. It's a cool feeling, because you've had yourself a good drink. There's no alcohol in it. I didn't need the alcohol, but it was still enjoyable while watching Calgary kick ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is, especially as the weather turns here. I do enjoy like that cold beer, but it's not for the alcohol. Like, because I've switched over to non-alcoholic, and it's.
Yeah. And you don't even have a timeline on that either too, right? Or have you given a timeline?
Not like a hard timeline. There's just a lot of stuff I want to like accomplish, I guess. And so that is kind of the loose timeline. Like, once all those boxes are checked, then I'll revisit and see. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just something, kind of a challenge, and just something to like park for a while and be like, I'm just going to go do other things that are more important to me. Yep.
And you said it's already paying dividends.
Yeah. I mean, and to keep the episode light and about nothing, it's really cool when you just make a decision on something, and then it has absolutely no more weight over you. Right. Because it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. I've decided whenever that was, back in March. So it doesn't consume any energy in my life.
And I think also importantly, as a guy like yourself who habit tracks, you specifically said you weren't going to track this because you don't need to. You don't need to tick off your box day by day, right? Because it just, like you said, is a decision, and then off it goes.
Yeah. There's nothing to track. It's zero. Like, I could write 0 down every day, but that's pointless.
But what's the point? Because you made that decision. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
the squirrely holes we'd go into, and then it would get deep. And then this episode would be about something. Then we'd have to create different
something
reels
instead of nothing.
That's right. Which is, for our 5 listeners, which I always say that are left.
Okay. 1 sec. Now I've got to give you shit on air about this, because I always tell you, like, quit saying that. Like, like, it's degrading ourselves to be like, oh, there's 2 listeners left listening. And it's like,
well, let's go back to yesterday's analytics, our strategy session for our listeners out there, which was super cool. What did we find out for our last year and a half worth of episodes?
I don't know. You're the one that looks at the analytics. I have no idea.
Top 10 episodes.
Oh, yes.
5 of them on communication. Mind-blowing, and just shows where our listeners are finding relevancy in our podcast, which is super cool, because I myself am always learning from those listeners that we've had on that are so great at communication and providing communication skill tools for us. And just seeing the analytics in front of you, they don't lie. Here's what people listen to. Here's what they don't. And 5 of our top 10 are on communication.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
With, I think you had said like long follow through, like the listeners listened to the whole episode.
Well, and there's where the fun and, talking about 5 listeners left. We were going through the analytics of some of our shows where I was going, Mike, guess how long people listen to the episode for?
Well, you said, was it Doctors on Discipline? Like, I can't even remember, because for the listeners, Doug, our podcast producer, titles the episodes, right? We record them and off they go. And we were like, Doctors on Discipline, which one was that? So we must have talked about discipline. And the average listen length was like 5 minutes.
5 minutes and 21 seconds.
And I was like, okay, you guys don't want to hear about discipline. We got it.
As opposed to some of our other long form ones, whether they've been just you and me and or a communication where you still have 80% of your listeners at the 40-45 minute mark, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, we were just on with our social media team crew this morning, and some of our stats are looking really good, which is I think based on the amazing guests that we've had on and the message that we're carrying. I think that's pretty cool. And you and me, we've got our moments.
Not for you and me. No.
I have friends that will text out now. It came in last week. She's like, I hate you. I'm like, why? She's like, I hate giving you kudos. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, that last episode, that was good. I'm like,
that's funny.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's the best kudos you could give me, is just based on you not wanting to give me kudos.
Yeah.
So what else do you know?
Well, we rock, paper, scissored to see who had to lead this episode, and you lost. So
you're telling me that it's me that's got a guide.
Yeah. So you're playing the game there where you're going to toss it over to me. And it's like, no, you're in charge.
Let's toss it back, because this is a random episode, and the episode about nothing. I actually have been doing some major learning on the 1500s and the cruise of ships across the world right now, and specifically Magellan's getting through Magellan's Strait. So if we're talking about random, I've been reading the last 2 books. Why my brain has gone there, I have no idea. But listening about the Armada and how Magellan, who ended up actually dying during the trip, got through a mutiny and then ended up dying because his ego got the best of him when he was trying to convert a whole bunch of natives to Catholicism. It's an interesting world my brain's gone into. And one of my vets this morning had cinnamon on his porridge and yogurt. And I said, if you want to go into the randomness of the world, 500 years ago, Spain and Portugal were fighting for territories across the world for spices, for cloves, for cinnamon. It's unbelievable how much that was worth as compared to cents on the dollar, if even today. So if you want to talk randomness, wow, is a lot changed in 500 years.
I just don't even know what to say to that. That was random, but informative. Your spirit animal is undoubtedly a squirrel, like without question.
I kept seeing this thing about Magellan Strait, and I'm going, what the frick is Magellan Strait? And again, nativity, I never took geography in school. It just never ended up as an option that I took. So I was going, I need to get up to date with my grade 8 alter self and figure out what Magellan Strait is. And 3 weeks later, I am none the wiser for having read a very too thick of book.
Becoming a history buff between woodworking sessions.
Oh, I got to get back to the woodworking sessions, man. I got a couple projects to work on.
You are Forrest Gump, man. Isn't that your favorite movie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. So there we go. That's my randomness. Now I'm going to throw it back at you. I do have another one as well, too.
Well, let's hear about it.
James Nestor. We've spoken about this. Oh, Whisker Cloud Cup, anybody? James Nestor, the Breathe book. Wow. So I finished it up last weekend when I was in Fernie as well. And holy heck, do we have a lot of breathing work to do. That one is mind-changing. Just speaking about even the use of orthodontics and actually how negative they are. to how your mouth is shaped and what the long-term impacts of that are, I didn't have a clue. Nose breathing versus mouth breathing and actual breathing properly with your dive. I'm lost right now.
It is. And I'm going to keep it light because you just like went into my nerd zone. And it's like, I think that was 2020 when I started researching breathing, and it is unreal. Like,
and when you first said it, just to jump in for a second, I thought you're like roo. I have no idea what you're talking about. You mentioned that on a podcast in 2020 or 2021. I was going, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about now.
It is, isn't it? Like, and I mean, I'm a weirdo on these running that I've been doing. Like, I started by taping my mouth shut, and I would force myself to breathe through my nose. And now I don't need to tape my mouth shut. Like, I can just do it, you know, but it is like, and that's one aspect. Sleeping, mouth breathing versus nasal breathing. Like, it almost should be must read material for everyone.
I'm just shocked. I don't know why it's not into the greater context of normal society. I don't understand it. Actually, I don't have a clue. Why isn't this in the mainstream?
I mean, people only listen to our discipline episode for 5 minutes. That's why, you know, like, there's so much stuff that is like, you know, we know what sugar does. Mostly we ignore it, you know, like, it's not that fun to talk about. Like, who wants to talk about nasal breathing versus mouth breathing?
Nobody.
No, but I mean,
impact. Impact. I could tell it. And he talks about it in his book, when you're doing emails and that, how much breath holding you're doing. And the amount of times I've caught myself in the last couple of weeks driving or doing emails, and I'm going, wait a second, I'm holding my breath right now. What are the long-term consequences of that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even recognize it. It's so unconscious as a habit. So again, squirrel hole, but important one.
Yeah. And then even pull it over to like the mental health side of things. Like, as I've got better control of my breathing and my breath, the ability to navigate stressful situations or anxiety or whatever we want to call it, you know, you can breathe through it.
And I know that sounds so simple and woo woo wah wah, and yet it's true. It is research backed.
Yeah. So
there we go.
Is the episode starting to become about something, or?
It can't be. No, we got to switch gears.
Okay.
There we go. Wow. We covered a lot of topics there in 15 minutes. Yep. Anything else prescient on your mind right now?
No, not really. At the risk of going into something, simplicity, I don't think it's maybe worth a full episode, but that would be the other thing in our life. So Rosalie and I is trying to simplify, you know, wherever we can. I really feel like an issue maybe in the world is everyone feels like they have to do everything. And less is often more. But anyway, I'm slipping into talking about something. So I'll come back.
And when we were talking about that simplicity, we were talking about, hey, do we need a third guest in there so that they can provide some therapy for myself us and yourself as well too, in that regard. Yeah. So we can have on the spot therapy session, because it is definitely relevant. Yeah.
Well, and this is ironic. The two of us talking about simplicity, even trying to record just the two of us. And it's like, what's your schedule? And like, they're both have just been packed. And it's like, I hate being busy. Like, I always feel like if I'm busy, I'm not being like efficient or productive, you know, like I'm letting things that shouldn't be on my schedule there. But it has been herding cats the last few weeks for us.
It sure has been. And then I'll flip the switch on you and say, I asked the question, well, even if you were busy, were you productive? And is that a negative? And your answer, if I remember correctly, was no, I was very productive, even though they were task-oriented things that, you know, may be boring, etc. You had to get through them. So does that make it a negative? Not necessarily.
Yeah, no. And I'm not dwelling on it. I always look at when you have screamingly busy days like that, what can you get off your plate forever? And so I guess this is, I don't know if my dad listens to these or not. He'll be in the field, so maybe he is. And I'm embarrassed about this one, but I recently, as in like this week, hired someone to come do all of our lawn care for the whole year, like cut it, fertilize it, like everything, like, you know, which really hurts my ego and the farm kid in me. And I was like, ooh, you know,
what's out there now? It's out there.
I know, but it's one of those things where it's just like, you know,
how many years have you been thinking about doing that as compared to pulling the trigger this year and doing it?
Not that long, because I've changed so much just in the recently. So last year I thought about it, but didn't do it. And then I had it on my like plan for the years, like no more shoveling snow, no more mowing lawn, you know, get that time back, whatever it is, 20, 40 minutes, an hour, spend it with Riley.
Yep.
Boom. Gone forever. Right now, I don't have to worry about it.
So cool. So cool to see the differences, even in you and me that are best buds, because I won't give that up. Candace won't give that up. And yet there's other things that we'll give up that you guys won't give up. It's super neat.
Yeah, you got to pick. And what's super funny is like, I enjoy mowing lawn, like the smell of it. And, you know, like you get out, put our podcast on or not, just being outside. Yep. But it is when you have like lately, this sounds like excuses and whatnot, but the schedule is just like, I don't even know where I would mow the lawn, even if I had to.
No, it's true. It's totally true. I was looking at my lawn this morning going, somebody's going to have to mow it this weekend because it's finally growing in Calgary. Finally.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a whole nother random show.
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet, buddy. Well, I think we have achieved our goal of
talking about nothing.
Overall nothing. And I hope it was entertaining and I was entertained. I enjoyed it. I think we got through some messages of nothing.
I learned a lot about Magellan, or however you say his name.
Google it, dude.
I will.
Google it. Unbelievable. Yeah, we can keep going down that trend and I'll probably forget it in a month from now. But for now, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So until our next episode, which will not be about nothing, have a great time. Enjoy yourselves. And until the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Veterinary Project Podcast. As a recap, on behalf of our hosts, the Veterinary Project Podcast will be releasing new episodes weekly, so be sure to tune in as we bring you more conversations aimed at helping you enjoy a life well lived. If you enjoyed what you heard on the show and you want to stay in the know, please like, love, and or subscribe to the podcast on the listening platform of your choosing, as we're available on all the usual suspects. If you know of others that may benefit from these conversations, we'd love it if you please share the show with them, as this will help us grow our community to reach more and more veterinary professionals. Speaking of which, if you are a veterinary professional and would like to get connected with more like-minded individuals who are joining us on this journey, please send an email to theveterinaryprojectpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll invite you to be a part of our private Facebook group. General feedback, requests for information, or perhaps requests to be a guest on the show can also be sent to the Veterinary Project Podcast @gmail.com. Dr. Michael Bugg and Dr. Jonathan Leicht, thank you for listening to the show, and we'll catch you again next week for another episode of the Veterinary Project Podcast. Bye for now.